Hello and welcome to the Boss Up Ball Out podcast, your home for organic debate about Detroit Lions news and rumors. It's your man Kurt Steele. On today's show, I'll look at the latest roster moves by the Lions. Do the channel a quick favor, like the video, share this video, and comment on the video. All these things help us get this content to more Detroit Lions fans like yourself. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we are currently at 1853. If you're new to the channel, this is how our show works here. We look at Lions news, headlines, or takes. If we agree, we say they are bossed up. If we disagree, we say it is balled on. And we give our takes on why we agree or disagree. For live shows, we do a little bit different here. If you agree, I want you to put hashtag bossed up in the comments or in the chat. And if you disagree, put hashtag balled on. Tell me why. I'll put those comments on the screen and we'll talk about it together. No hot takes here, baby. Just natural debate and our true feelings and thoughts and opinions on what's happening with our favorite team, the Detroit Lions. Now it's time to bring in my special guest for today's show. I call him Jason Statham Jr. It's my man, the Ant-Man, Anthony from Royal Alliance UK. Good morning, my guy. Oh, can't hear you.
Sorry.
There you
go.
Good
now. There we go. Sorry. Doing good, Kurt. How are you? Never miss an opportunity to come chat Lions with the Man of Steel.
Yes, man. You doing a back-to-back today. You were just over with the Duke crew, hanging out over on Lions Talk Live, and now you're here with the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. And let me give a quick shout out to everyone who hung out with me yesterday with the Lions Nation Unite. I did a little quick show with Herm and Lo yesterday, man. And for everyone who showed up and supported, man, we appreciate what you did for us over there on Lions Nation Unite. We're building a big family over there, so make sure you join that family. Become a part of the community that is LNU. All right, so now let's talk about what we're going to talk about in today's show. But, let's see who's in the chat first because, we always got to see who's in that. Moon Scar Blaze said, bossed up ballers, man. Here we go. Sift the flour on the dough. Detroit Lions can't be beat. Breaking the bread baker this week with the Coney Island Crushers meet. Okay, that's a lot of Detroit references in there, man. That's a lot. Good morning there, Moonscar Blade. All right, Hat Man, our defense will be feasting on some kneecap Sunday. Oh, yeah, they're definitely good. My man, Michael Huck, man. Good morning, my guy, man. He's coming over from Detroit Lions on the prowl, man. He was part of that family over there. I appreciate you being in the building, Michael. All right, Matthew Gray says, good morning and salutations. Good morning. JDC says, boss up, ball out. UP of Michigan, Doe Crew, go Lions. Of course, man. All right, howdy, everyone. Brent DeWitt, my fellow veteran. Salute to my guy. Moonscar Blade, definitely. I thought I was experiencing deja vu. Yeah, he just had, just had to hit the button. That's all. We good. We good. All right, man. It's still in the Ant-Man Brit with the grit. I like that. Brit. That's the first time I've heard that one. Have you heard that one before?
Yeah, that's that. Dan has coined that. So appreciate it, Dan, if you're listening.
Brit with the grit.
Yeah,
I'm loving that. I am loving that. All right, Hat-Man says back to back Ant-Man. Woo! From Hat-Man, a.k.a. Batman. All right. King SJ, my guy, is in the building. Ant-Man, King SJ, man. Remember, I don't know if you remember him. He was over on Lions on the Prowl, too, man. We just got some great people in here this morning. All right. Same here, Moonscar. I guess they were having some mic issues over there. All right. Hi again, guys, from Mile Marker. All right, let's get into the topics for today. All right, some Lions roster moves. We're going to talk about that to start the show off. That's first topic of the day. I think, and I looked at the film. I looked at the film of the game. We watched it a couple of times. Looked at some of the R22, and there's some adjustments I think the Lions need to make on both sides of the ball. So offense and defense will tackle each one separately. But of course, we have to talk about the first topic of today, and which is the main topic, is that the Lions made some roster moves. All right, so definitely. If you didn't see yesterday, the Lions signed Chris Smith, to the active roster from the practice squad on Saturday. Now, the move signaled that DJ Reader was not going to play on Sunday night. However, the Lions waived the guy yesterday, like 24 hours after the game. He was back on the street pretty much. Now, my belief is that he will clear waivers and he will be back to the practice squad later this week. I just think that is what's going to happen with that guy. I mean, they kept him in Detroit for a reason, so I think that he's going to be here. I think he's going to be a piece that they can bring up, move up and down from the practice squad. So I just think that he's going to be back. Now, ironically, during the media session yesterday, Aleem McNeil was asked about Chris Sims being signed to the active roster, and Aleem gave us some good words of encouragement about Smith. But little did he or the reporter who asked the question knew that Smitty was getting waived like pretty much at the same time as the press conference was going on. Now, here is what most people are believing what that move signified. It indicated that DJ Reader will play this Sunday against the Buccaneers, and which by all accounts that Dan Campbell said that was the target game for DJ Reader to get back on the field. So the Lions roster is now back at 82. And they were a little thin versus the Rams at wide receiver. So my belief is that either Tim Patrick or Allen Robinson will be signed to the active roster, and that move will allow Ben Johnson to spread the field out and draw defenders away from St. Brown and Sam Laporta, because Tom Kennedy and Khalif Raymond, they just didn't draw coverage away from Goff's targets last season. So my thing, man, okay, first of all, what do you think about like what's going to happen with Chris Smith, first of all?
I mean, first, that made sense to bring him up. Obviously, no DJ Reader for Sunday, and Levi, we didn't know what we were going to get with him before he had his great game. So it made sense that we needed a little bit more help at the tackle, which probably explains why Houston and Sorsdal were left out. It was just need on the day. Defensive tackle was the higher need, and ended up being a really good move. 83 yards on the ground. We did pretty well there. So he'll get back to the roster squad. He's not. I mean, he didn't exactly have a great preseason for us. He had a pretty bad one, so he's just going to be one of those guys I think we flirt up and down with as and when we need if there's some injury bugs there. So, yeah, I just expect him to flip-flop between the sides. And hopefully Reader's back this week, because that will be amazing. Reader, Aleem, Levi, if he carries on doing what he does, he was tremendous. If you've got three in there that you can rotate in and out, keep them fresh, then my God, we're going to have a dangerous line there. And I'm with you. One roster spot left. Receiver is the one that stands out. We just need another guy in there just to take a little bit of the load. Kennedy didn't really see much. Isaiah Williams didn't really see much. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll bring another receiver up to the ranks just to boost that, especially you're coming into a Tampa game where their secondary is a little bit beaten up. They're missing a few guys. They're low at corner. So the more weapons you've got, the more looks you can give them, the more pressure you put on them, you'll be able to break them down. So again, I expect them to play the matchups, bring us another weapon to go after some of those backups that Tampa will probably be playing.
Yeah, because you just look at the game on Sunday, it was just like, and we'll talk about in the next segment about what we need to do on offense to kind of adjust some things. But it was like we're going to need that extra receiver. And I'm not saying that, it's a huge need, but I'm just thinking that it changes the complexity of the offense when you have another guy out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, hey, we got to change some things up. But Reader bringing that Reader into that defensive line, man, is just going to be something that teams aren't going to be ready for. That they're used to seeing, Levi and Aleem McNeil, but he brings a different element to the defensive line. He's just so big and takes up so much space, and he's so strong. This is going to be one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's going to be a tough sledding for any offensive line. And now the Tampa's offensive line is better than the Lions. It is. I mean, not the Lions. I'm sorry, the Rams. It's just better. They have a good, with Wirfs, and they have a better offensive line. It's not great. I won't say they have one of the best offensive lines in the league like the Lions do, but it's better than the Rams, because the Rams were just playing they were just piecemealing that thing together on Sunday night, and I think that Reader's going to be that a big adjustment for any defense. I mean, excuse me, any offensive coordinator that's having to deal with him and Aleem McNeil. But hey, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video, man. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. It's free. It's free. It won't cost you nothing. It's free, 99 and 50 free cent. And get in the community tab, man. I post some good stuff over there as well. We got some image polls, some links to some other videos. So go ahead and check out the community tab, man, and be a part of the Boss Up, Ball Out family. Let's get back into the chat. What's going on over here, man? Michael Laughlin says certain media praising the crap out of Chris Smith, and then they cut him. You know what though? And I was like, when I was watching Aleem McNeil's presser, I'm like, they must not know that they've cut this guy. it was like it had to be simultaneously, because I was watching him and I was reading on X that he had been waived. So I'm like, okay. Rocky M says, good morning, Kurt. We need a big wide receiver on the outside. I would think we need a big wide receiver in the inside. I want that guy to cross the middle and kind of box people out, and that would draw coverage from St. Brown and Laporta, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think the outside is taken care of with J-Mo. That's just me. What I saw on the outside on Sunday, we ain't got a problem on the outside. It's that, getting more people in the middle of the field and kind of draw some coverage away from the inside of the field. All right, another good receiver, and then Amar Kane Brown may get a bit more opportunity. We're gonna talk about that in the adjustments here in the next segment. But man,
Oh, it is Kurt, not me. Kurt.
Right. All right. Sorry, my Wi-Fi went out. My Wi-Fi went out for a second. Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. I got to call Spectrum. I paid my bill. So, all right.
Sorry, Kurt. I thought that was me.
Yeah, that was my signal went out for a second. All right. So, how about the soccer fields? They're a little different. Football fields and American football fields are different.
Yeah, absolutely. Soccer fields don't usually have 320-pound, 6-foot linemen digging their heels into the turf all game and running around. The only time you see 320-pound guys running around a football field over here is when you get the likes of me playing on a Sunday morning, and that's not a pretty sight. So, the pitches are good quality over here. We take a lot of pride in them. Most of them get relayed every year. The surfaces are good, but again, it's different style. You've got a lot more weighty guys on there, a lot more guys who are cutting you don't cut inwards and outwards like you do. You don't put as much pressure on the ground, which causes all the digs and divots in there and stuff like that. So, the condition of the fields are good. They're just not designed to handle as many big men as what are on an NFL field. But at the same point, I know your guys are always talking over there about using proper grass and stuff like that, and instead of the artificial stuff they use to try and withstand from injury, because it is a big thing. So there's a balance to be made. But yeah, the soccer fields over here, they're good. They're good, Nick. They're just not designed for so many big men running around.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then a lot of these fields here in the States, as far as soccer is concerned, they're going to more of a synthetic fields. Like the game that happened between the Panthers and the Lions a couple of years ago on Christmas Eve, the Charlotte brought in a professional soccer club, and they changed their field from natural grass to synthetic. And that's why the field was so hard, because it was the coldest day ever in Charlotte. Like it was freezing out there. So then that's why they had the problem with the field. All right, so let's kind of move move on to the next segment. Sorry, we got frozen for a minute, but I want to move on to the next segment because we don't want to run out of time because of what we got frozen. So, all right, next we're going to talk about some adjustments that need to be made on the offense side of the ball. Man, sorry, I just moved too slow. I had to change my Wi-Fi connection. So we watching that. Like I said, or we watched some of the game. There's some adjustments I think the Lions need to make on all game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Detroit has one of the best offensive lines in the league, and they can impose their will when they want to run the ball. Kevin Zeitler was a big addition to that run game. He's one of the best in the business, and arguably he's sitting next to the best right tackle in the NFL with Penei Sewell. And the overtime drive to win the game versus the Rams just proved that the Lions can just manhandle most defensive lines. They just got out there and they just road graded those guys. So I just think they just needed to. They went away from the run too early in that game. They got a little cutesy, and they proved in that overtime that they should have just ran the ball for the majority of the game and just made the Rams adjust. And one thing I think talking about St. Brown, I think the Rams show what can happen to defenses when you put your top slot receiver in motion. You look at Cooper Kupp, he was up and down the line, and that dictated what happened with Cooper Kupp, and you can tell what the coverages were. You can see who was playing man, who was playing zone, and I think the same thing can be done to St. Brown because a lot of attention was paid to St. Brown coming off his all-pro season. It's time to move him around, take advantage of his technical route running ability to get him open. Saint's a technician, man. He's known for sitting in gaps in coverage, but when you have an extra guy coming in and just a sitting in coverages, like they brought in John Johnson III, he was there to take away the middle of the field, and he just kind of just sat there, and it was hard to get St. Brown open. So you need to kind of move them around, and you know the Lions were just kind of running their plays out of base alignments. Man, you have to make adjustments, and that's one thing I think that they could do: move him around, make some adjustments, and think he'll be fine and getting open. And then the last thing, of course, looking at, you got to keep using JMO. I mean, he had that great first game, and stretch the field with that guy, because what it does is it makes the defense coordinators make adjustments. They got to his that he can take the top off the defense, because, like I said a few seconds ago, Rams were sneaking an extra DB into the middle of the field to slow down St. Brown on the Porter. Like John Johnson was just like, he wasn't playing. They were playing single high safety, and they were bringing another safety down into that middle of the field, and it was just like, hey, we're gonna make sure we stop your top two weapons. So look at those adjustments. What do you think? Are those some adjustments you think that the Lions can make on offense? Do you agree with them, or do you think you have some different adjustments you will make?
So, I mean, I guess rarely here I may disagree a bit. So with the offensive adjustment I want to see, Ben Johnson's got to get better at mixing things up. Like, first half, we were right, but the second half, our first three drives, run, pass. It's what Matt Patricia used to do. 2 runs, puts you in a third and medium. And what the Rams were doing, they were sitting. They were not coming up in press. They were sitting, waiting for the short pass out to try and convert on downs. And then they were just hawking to the ball. And there were 2-3 guys coming downhill to tackle our guys, so they couldn't get no forward momentum and get the drives going. Now, 2 of those ended in 3 and outs. 1 ended in the JMO Moonball downfield. And we scored from it. But Ben Johnson's got to get better. You can't just go run, pass all the time, because the team figures out what to do with you. He needs to change that. I thought there was a healthy amount of run in this game compared to, the passing as well. I don't mind that so much, but the execution needs to get better. As for everyone else, I'm probably the only person who thinks this. The fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't have as big an impact in this game really doesn't bother me. Why? Because what the Rams were doing, as you've so adequately pointed out already, they were bringing their safeties up to the middle of the field. They were committing extra resources to hamming up Laporta, St. Brown, taking away that middle of the field passing game that we love so much. And when we're predictably running the ball all the time, and we're in third and medium, and we're allowing them to come up and do this, that's a really big problem for us. But having said that, they stop Amon-Ra St. Brown, they stop Sam Laporta, they keep the run game in check for the most part, but they have to expend all their resources doing that. What did that do? That opened up Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams' big touchdown. He's one-on-one with Tre'Davious White's old slow ass, and he completely burns him. Get downfield, get the touchdown. Our offense, we don't need Amon-Ra to be a star every week. We don't need Laporte to be a star every week because we've got J-Mo now. I actually thought we exploited what they were doing pretty well, and I think we need to do more of it. In terms of J-Mo, I thought it was much better. Again, I'm one of the only people who's of this opinion, but I think the team have let him down the way they've used him. They've not used him anywhere near enough. They've just taken deep shots down the field at him. In this game, they pulled off the same end around they did in the NFC Championship game, get the ball in his hands. They gave him screens. They gave him passes across the field. They gave him passes down the field. Their X factor got the ball in his hands. He got confident and he split them open. Because they were having to deal with the rest of our offense, we were still able to take advantage of it. And that's now going to be a problem for teams going forward because, they bought their safety. They were giving their corners no safety help against J-Mo. Tampa are going to have to do that now because they're not going to get burnt on the outside with a load of rookie corners. And in those safeties having to stay higher, it's going to allow us to implement the run game, and it's going to allow us to bring in Amon-Ra and Laporta. So I don't think we need to really change that much. I think we just need to adapt to our opposition, and I think we did it well. The only trouble it looked a little rough in this is because the team is so rusty and it wasn't executing properly. But for me, offensive adjustments, it's Ben Johnson. He's got to get better. Stop being predictable run, pass, mix it up, get the looks going. So that's where I'm at with it.
I just think that the Lions can. Now, I'm not saying be completely reliant on the run. I'm just thinking like if you find something, if you have a matchup that's a problem, like the Lions had a matchup where they could run the ball, and it was one of those things where you saw early with Montgomery, and they kind of went away from it. I'm like, saw what they could do in the matchup in the overtime period, and they just took advantage of that matchup. You have to take advantage of the matchups, and I think with J-Mo, they started to take advantage of that matchup where they were sliding them across the field. You saw it in the first half, and in the second half, we caught those crossing routes, and just because he just ran away from the coverage, no one can hang with this guy. So it's kind of the same thing as Tyreek Hill, where no one can hang with you. So if he gives them across the field, or I'm not just talking about just down the field as well, just kind of stretch the field, either be it horizontally or vertically. You can use him to stretch the field and take advantage of that. And like you said, once the teams have to make the adjustment to deal with J-Mo, it's going to open up plays for St. Brown and Laporta. Hey, do me a favor, like the video, share the video, and comment on that video, man. All these things help us get this Lions content to more fans like yourself. And let's get into this last segment of today, man. We're going to talk about what I think the Lions need to do on the defensive side of the ball. First of all, we got to fix the communication in that secondary. I understand it was the first game of the year, but the Rams use a ton of motion. I know it's not going to be the same thing because everyone doesn't run that offense that the Rams run, because we're not going to see that at Tampa. They don't run that style offense, man. But they use a lot of motion to see what the lines were in man and zone. So you gotta communicate back there. They're going to get better throughout the year, but they gotta fix the communication because they weren't passing off routes correctly when they were playing zone. It's just got to get better on the back end secondary with the communications. Next, very simple. You have to tackle. Man, we missed several times, especially in the secondary, man. Brian Branch was just whiffing on some things. Now, he made some good plays. I can't say that he didn't because Branch is a baller. He going to make some plays, but he left some tackles out there on the field. You got to wrap up, man. You just see the rust. And it's the rust from not playing those guys in the preseason as well. So it just is what it is. And the last thing that I saw, man, is the Lions use a lot of basic pass rush on against the Rams. Now, I will say this, that they were playing that patchwork Rams offensive line, and they were just taking advantage of matchups because, Hutch had that young fella in the blender, but you're not going to face backup offensive linemen all year long. You're going to, look at Tampa with Tristan Wirfs and those guys that they have up front. You're going to have some better offensive lines that you're going to face. They got to change up their tactics. And I'm not talking about blitzing per se. I'm talking about using some twists and some stunts, and you can take advantage of the speed and power of Hutch and Davenport, and then maybe James Houston, where you can get these guys, where you can get some mismatches going on. Reader's going to take up at least two guys, so you can be able to stunt and twist with some of those linemen, and bring up a guy like Derek Barnes, and you can get more pressure on the opposing quarterbacks because, even with the Stafford throwing as many times as he did, we got some good pressures on him, but it wasn't what I thought we could have got during the game. And I think utilizing some stunts and some twists would have helped get more pressure on Stafford in that game. So what do you think about defense adjustments? I said, Ant-Man.
So defensive, like secondary communication, that was always going to be a problem. All these guys are new, even the veterans are new, and Branch has moved positions. I hate the move to safety for Brian Branch. High IQ players work best when they're on the ball right away. He's sat there in coverage, and sometimes what happens with the very clever ones is when they've got too much time to overthink something, they overthink and they make mistakes. Put him in his natural position where he can just make plays on the ball like that when he's surefire, making decisions. I don't like his move there, but, be all and end all, it's what it's going to be. But you've got rookies in there. You've got vets who've never played in there. That was never going to be a perfect game. Sunday's not going to be a perfect game. Hell, I don't expect the secondary communication to be anywhere near like what it should be until game 6, 7, 8, and rightly so. They need to play snaps together. Mm-hmm. They've got to keep playing together. They've got to get this communication, and they're coming up against some of the league's finest. We've got a gauntlet of receivers. Like you've got a Hall of Fame receiver coming up this weekend, Chris Godwin, all these guys. It's going to be tough. So that is just going to be a natural process we're going to have to stick with. The tackling, I agree, but I think that's more situational. Like the 60-yard drive when the tackle was missed by Carlton Davis, I think it was. They're on their own end zone, basically. Why the hell you are rushing in and aggressively overcommitting on the tackle there is stupid. Sit 5 yards, wait for him to get the ball, make the tackle. That's simple. Like, if you're on your end zone, then by all means, go attack him right away because the field's smaller, you've got cover, great. But you've got to use your noggin there. That's what they were doing to us. They were sat back, just giving us a little cushion and then coming in and tackling. We were way too aggressive trying to make plays, trying to get off the field. I think that's what the issue was. You just got to use your smarts, be better, and then the tackling will come with it. We were just a bit too aggressive with that. As for the D-line, again, the lack of sacks doesn't bother me. Stafford was throwing it in 2 seconds. Nobody can get to a quarterback in 2 seconds, even unopposed. Nobody can get to a quarterback in 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. You're working what you're with. The D-line created a ton of pressure on the day. We did get a couple of sacks, but for the most part, they were getting to they were making him throw it quickly. I don't really think they need to change what they're doing. I just think that they were just, like say, their use of motion, getting guys off the line straight away with a head start means he can just catch it, throw it. There's nothing you can do about that as a defensive lineman. So I just want to see them be as aggressive as they were before. They were great against the run. They were able to get some good pressure on the ball, but we're not going to come up against the Rams every week. So for me, again, it's executional stuff. Like I say, be smarter when thinking about you making your tackles, work out where you are on the field, and then it's just going to be natural growth for the rest of this team. The more reps they play, they will just naturally get better. But for some parts, we're just going to have to wait a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we're coming coming up on that half an hour mark, man. Thank you guys for checking us out right here on the Boss Up All Out podcast. Sorry I couldn't get to more of your comments in the chat, but make sure you comment on the video. Let me know what you think the adjustments the Lions need to make on offense or defense. And make sure you go ahead and let me know who is going to be that next signing on the roster. Who's going to fill that 53rd spot on the Lions defensive Lions offense active roster, excuse me. All right, my man, Ant-Man, as I like to call him, Jason Statham Jr. But he got the grit with the grit. I'm liking that though. But you will always be Jason Statham Jr. right here on this show, man. Tell the people where you can. I'm just tongue tied. Tell the people where they can find your content, my guy.
Yeah, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. We go live on Mondays. I do college ball on Wednesdays. I'll be live tomorrow. So if you want to come and chat some college stuff, then by all means, please do so. But yeah, if you want to check out your Lions news from a British point of view, then come check us out at Roar of the Lions UK. And thanks as always, Kurt. I always love coming on and chatting with you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hey, if you got Discord, make sure you check out their Discord. Their Discord is off the hook. Man, they have a lot of information in there. You get a lot of alerts about shows and information and just great conversations. Go do Discord. Make sure you subscribe to the Royal Lions UK Discord channel, man. It's great, man. Hey, do me a quick favor. If you don't do so already, make sure you follow the show and the host on your favorite social media platform. My man, Coach Jones has great shorts over on the Wolverine Sports Talk. You can follow me on your favorite social media platforms as well. And, of course, LL Cool Toys, man. And check him out on Thursdays over there on Instagram as well. Hey, do your man Kurt Steele a favor. Whatever you're doing in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. For my man, Anthony, this is Kurt Steele, and I will holla at you real soon.